Welcome to the ModGolf YouTube channel. I am your host, Colin Weston, and today, as part of the ModGolf Podcast, I have an extended conversation with a guest that I just recorded with, and that is Todd Keirstead. Wow, what a podcast episode we had there. But Todd and I are going to have a slightly different conversation here. Lots of visuals of things that he's been through and that he does for a living. And it gives us a chance to actually experience all that. And Todd is not only a golf entertainer, but with his personal journey with cancer that he shared with us earlier on ModGolf, he's been kind enough and courageous enough to share some imagery that he's going to walk through. Not to scare you into getting checked out for skin cancer, but if that's what it takes, then that's what we're going to do. But you get the, I don't know if I call new and improved version, but definitely a very handsome version of Mr. Todd Keirstead. And there he is. Todd, thanks for joining us again at ModGolf.
Colin, thanks so much for having me. Now, this is, I have a face for podcasts, so I'm not sure the visual is good. I like going back to the other way.
I know. You know what? We do it all here. We do the audio, we do the video. And the great thing is, for everybody watching, is if you go back to listen to that long form audio podcast that Todd and I just took part in, and I include the link down below, that we took a deep dive into your history, your personal connection to golf, and how that's informed you and allowed you to do all the things you do, volunteering, advocating for building community, and raising awareness, especially for skin cancer. So once again, I encourage viewers to go back and have a listen to that. But we're going to take a slightly different take here. But we're going to start with the lighter side of things with your work in the golf entertainment. And you told me about, I asked you, what are some of the craziest shots or most renowned or ones that have gone a little bit viral? And you mentioned two, and you were kind enough to send some pictures. So I'm going to bring them up on screen here. And let's put us on either side here. The first one. So Todd, tell us what the heck is going on here.
That one there, yeah, kind of self-explanatory. I've got somebody that's wearing a helmet, and I am teeing it off the top of his head, hitting full-on driver and not backing down, swinging at about 110 miles an hour. Oof. And hitting about 300 yards. And the cool thing about this picture as well, too, this is at Kiowa Island. This is the range at Kiowa Island Ocean Course. And
okay.
I've had the privilege of doing two exhibitions down there. And oh, my God, what a piece of property that is.
So I have to ask you, I'm sure this is just someone out of the audience in this particular case, or if you set this up, do they have to sign a liability waiver in case maybe you hit it a little bit heavy?
Yeah, you know what? This is literally pulled them right out of the audience. And that's the crazy thing about it. After I hit some of the shots that I do, I look at them and I'm going, why would you let me do that? And they say, well, you look like you knew what you were doing. I'm like, wow. But yeah, literally he sat down on the ground. We strapped him up and it's literally a bicycle helmet with a T on the top of it. And yeah, flushed that one about 300 plus yards off the top of his head. And it's a little nerve wracking, but for him, to me, I've done it for 20 years and no blood yet, which is, I'm going to knock on wood right here. But yeah, haven't hit anybody, haven't injured anybody. You know, I'll know when the time's to give it up. But right now I'm still raising millions of dollars for charity and still having a lot of fun doing it. I don't recommend everybody doing this shot. There's only a select few of us really in the world that can pull these shots off, especially when off of a human anatomy. But yeah, there's a handful of us that can do it, and we have a lot of fun doing it, and we have a lot of fun getting together and doing it together.
Okay, well, if taking the risk of getting decapitated or at least like a level 3 concussion isn't enough for you, if that's if that's too lightweight for you, apparently you've got another option here.
Yeah, this one's off of lower extremity. This is we put a supportive cup on somebody, and yeah, tee it up and tee it high and let it fly is basically what we're doing here. And as I said, no blood yet, but raise a lot of money for charity doing these shots, adds the entertainment value. Everybody's looking, if they have a charity golf tournament, they're like, what can we do to separate ourselves from all the other events? And I come in and stand on a hole and hit crazy golf shots, put on 36 8-minute shows for a full field and raise a lot of money doing it. So it's kind of cool. It just adds that little bit of a wow factor. Everybody has their videos out, taking pictures, taking videos. So I love what I do, and I've been doing it for over 20 years. And it's literally, this shot has literally taken me around the world. Japan, South Korea, the Arctic Circle, you name it. So it's kind of cool.
If we're together at one of your events, I might let you do this.
You know the thing that worries people the most, it's really not the shot. So how I segue, again, it's a whole entertainment. So I get the guy lying on the ground, and I literally make practice swings, and I get that golf club moving at over 110 miles an hour, as close to his ear as possible. And people say that's the thing that freaks people out the most is hearing that whoosh go right beside their head. But it's more just the segue leading up to the shot. I feel really comfortable doing it, very confident in doing this, and have a lot of fun doing this. And yeah, it is a little bit risque. I would never lay anybody down there and put them in a disrespectful situation. But if it's the foursome that's having a lot of fun, yeah, we're having a lot of fun doing it.
Okay. Well, I don't plan on having any more children. So you know what, okay. I feel if it does go wrong, what am I going to lose here? So if it does go wrong, do you actually charge extra for the free circumcision and vasectomy or not?
Yeah. You know what? That's all part of the package. We're good with that. So yeah, no extra charge on that one.
There we go. That's included. Okay. So that's the lighthearted part. We're going to talk about this. And we did go into great depth and with your personal connection to skin cancer and how you then finally, after perhaps holding off for a couple of years, went and got checked, and yes, very quickly determined very positively that you did have skin cancer in your nose. So you put it out there, as you talked about on the podcast, that part of that cathartic process for you that you discussed with your wife was to put it out there to public through the community that you have on social media and elsewhere, and tell your story as a way to, not as a cautionary tale, maybe perhaps a little bit, but also, so that men especially will be motivated to do like you did, to make sure that you go and get checked out, not be afraid of the results. So we've got some imagery here. I will say, some of these are not for the lighthearted or the faint-hearted, but you put these out there, and I'm going to bring them up on screen. So here, we're going to start with the one with you post-surgery in the hospital. Ooh. So there you are, handsome.
This one's a doozy. So basically what it was, thousands of hours under the sun. I grew up playing golf, grew up playing every sport imaginable. Never really took it seriously. Thought, like most of us, hey, we're invincible. Didn't really take care of myself as much as I should. Wasn't so proactive about UV protection. Ended up getting skin cancer on my nose. They did 4 rounds of Mohs surgery on my nose, which literally cut my nose literally off. I was literally 4 millimeters away from losing the structural integrity of my nose and having to wear a prosthetic. That's how bad it was. So from the 4 surgeries to rid my nose of skin cancer, they took a template of the hole that was on my nose, and they put that template on top of my forehead. They then cut from this eyebrow all the way up and around the template back down to this eyebrow. Not for the faint of heart. They took that skin, they peeled it down, they twisted it and sewed it to my nose. So from there, they had to close the gaping wound up that was left from that paramedian forehead flap, is what they called it. But then for 3 months, I literally had a bridge of skin between my forehead and my nose, because they didn't want to take a piece of skin off my hip, because the second they do that, it's dead, and hopefully it's going to let it regrow. So the picture that you're seeing right now, again, there's the scar on top of my forehead, but you can see the bridge of skin. That's literally my forehead pulled down and inverted to my nose. So I had to live like that. They got rid of the blood after that was dry blood after like a couple of weeks there.
Okay.
But I literally lived like that for 3 months, and wow. It wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't, the vainness in myself to go grocery shopping, to go, to the driving range and slowly hitting golf balls. And it was pretty challenging going out in public like that. But, I looked at it every time somebody sees these scars, and I still have scars now. And when someone, it's a conversation piece. And if I could let the scars be a conversation piece then hopefully it's going to raise awareness. And to me, I love and I don't mind sharing those pictures because we all need that shock value to start changing our habit. You know, if it was just, and I say it sounds morbid, but I'm so glad it was so intrusive and so just, it was tough. And I'm so glad, because if it was just a simple procedure, like a little liquid nitrogen burn, or if it was a little cut with a stitch, it wouldn't have the same impact, and it wouldn't have the same story when I'm relaying my message, because of that shock value, because it's, hey, this could happen to you if you don't take things seriously and you're not doing any early detection.
Right, right. So I'm sure you've thought about this, that you wish you would have gone earlier, but it sounds like your gut and your body finally told you it was time to get it checked out, and rightfully so, determined very, very quickly that you did have skin cancer in your nose. Let's say if you would have waited another 12 months or 24 months, what would have been the ramifications for you if you would have just been in denial, like a lot of men in a lot of cases in our lives here? What can you,
the end result, it could have been
what
death.
that been like?
It could have been death. It could have metastasized into other organs of the body, like
Yeah.
melanoma does, like squamous cell carcinoma does. You know, they have more melanoma than anything else. It could have metastasized in other regions of the body. For me, though, the big thing, you know, the closest thing was, oh my God, I couldn't imagine being out on the golf course in the heat of our summer wearing a prosthetic nose. You know, I think about that and I'm like, holy cow, like I was literally 4 millimeters away from, as I said, losing the structural integrity of my nose and having to wear that prosthetic. So to me, it's early detection. If you see something on your skin that doesn't look right, if you see something on your skin that's not healing, if you're seeing, you know, a mole or a growth that's evolving, changing in size, changing in color, go get it checked out. You know, don't wait, go get it checked out. You know, I recently was at a birthday party and a woman came up to me, and it was a friend, and she came up and gave me a big hug, and I'm like, hey, how are you? Right. And it was like, you know what, your story, I had a small little something on my nose and it ended up being skin cancer. Thankfully, you know, they just did a quick cut, one stitch. You couldn't even tell it was there, but you know, she thanked me. And to me, that's the most important part of sharing the story, is creating awareness.
So I know you do a lot of work
and creating that value to hopefully make. Yep. So I've done work with Melanoma Canada. Melanoma Canada has got an incredible resource. They've got incredible learning hub. You can learn a lot more about skin cancer through Melanoma Canada. You know, it dives into a lot of different stuff. The 3 types of melanoma that are the most common, which you see: squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma, melanoma. But there's also other rare skin cancers out there. You know, Bob Marley passed away of skin cancer. Most recently, Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett passed away of skin cancer as well too. So, you know, it doesn't just affect, you know, bald white guys, you know.
Right.
So,
well, once again, we put the website up there. If you're in Canada, I know a lot of our viewers and our listeners are in the US, but I think you, as you mentioned on the podcast, that it's very easy to find in the US, especially resources just like we have here with Melanoma Canada, that you're an ambassador for, and of course a great supporter of. That in the US you can find resources also. Yes,
absolutely. And you know, I was a keynote speaker at the 2025 PGA show. Hopefully I'm going to be again. I'm speaking at different golf clubs right now, not only to protect members, but also for health and safety for outside workers. You know, it's part of the health and safety program of protecting individuals with UV. And as an industry, we've been, you know, we've kind of kept our heads in the sand a little bit. But, you know, the numbers are staggering. When you say 7% of the general public will get skin cancer, 27% of golfers will get skin cancer. That's a huge variance. But even bigger, and 27% really doesn't mean much. But when I tell people 1 person in every foursome will get skin cancer in their lifetime, that's when a golfer's eyes open right up. So, you know, they're big numbers.
yeah, that is, wow.
Yeah.
Well, every
when you think
every
about
one of those cases that with the work that you do and others, so we can just get that number down rather than that going up. It's a good thing.
well, it's preventative. That's the crazy thing about it. It's absolutely 90% of skin cancer cases are preventative. But, I looked at it, it was a badge of honor to how much color I had, to how good the weekend was, or, how long I spent out in the sun. It was a healthy glow. And, it's not healthy. It's a sign of skin damage. It's a sign of aging. It's a billion-dollar industry, our cosmetics and the fountain of youth. We're all trying to find it, but protecting yourself from the sun will protect you from early aging.
Yeah, well, you and I are roughly about the same age, and we both grew up as kids and teens. Yeah, exactly. That being out the sun was a great thing, or you hear that thing. Oh, I need to get a burn at the beginning of the year because it gives me a good base for the summer. And you think about that now, and that's absolutely bonkers. But that's kind of what we thought. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Geez, we put stuff on our skin to bring the sun on as opposed to push it away or cover up or protect ourselves, like baby oil and Hawaiian Tropic 4. And it was insane what we did. Friggin', we hop in a tanning bed before we went down south to get that base tan so we wouldn't burn.
I know.
All a myth, and all brought a lot of this stuff on.
Well, you're helping to advocate for the positive aspects of this, of protection. As you said, we talked about it on the podcast, just that low-hanging fruit. And why don't we end that with that here, Todd? So once again, because most of our audience here, of course, they love entrepreneurship, but they are golfers. Get that right. They are golfers. So why don't let them know? Like myself, I'm going out today. I've got a 90-minute short game clinic that I'm going to today. It's bright and sunny out here in Vancouver. I'm going to be out in the sun. So what are the things that I should do? I might be doing some of them, but what should I be doing today to make sure I protect myself?
The three big things is find shade if you can, whether you're golfing, waiting for your partners to hit, get under a tree, get under some shade. The second one is UV protective clothing, covering up. And the last line of defense is wearing sunscreen, finding those spots that are exposed to the skin and wearing them. And again, this doesn't have to be a negative message. And I hear from the golf industry, I hear all the time, I appreciate what you're doing, but quite frankly, it doesn't sell our sport. But it's inevitable. We're all outside, whether it's a sunny day, a cloudy day, we're all being hit by UV. And we can make the narrative a positive. Why would you not want to protect your members? Why wouldn't you not want to protect your biggest asset? And that's the golfers, and put it as a positive message that we want to protect you. We want to give you the education to protect you. Doesn't have to be negative. And once we change that thought process, the golf industry is going to embrace this. They're going to have to.
So on that note, everybody that's watching here, hey, we're not trying to scare you, but we strongly encourage you. You only have one skin. It is our biggest organ. I think that is true. It is the biggest organ we have in our body, right? Is our skin.
It is. It's the largest organ of the body.
There we go. So you know what? It's precious. Take care of it. I need to do a better job of taking care of it. I know now you definitely take care of yours probably better than you did 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And like I said, golf will only prosper because of that. As you said, the longer we live, the more rounds we'll play. It's pretty simple math.
It really is. It really is. So let's embrace it again. And it's just changing a little bit of habits. That's all it is. Colin, thank you, my friend. It's such a pleasure to see you.
And likewise, too. So I look forward to you hitting a ball off my head or my crotch, or maybe even both sometime very soon. Maybe Dan will both be in Florida in January. Who knows? Maybe I've set myself up here in some way that's when that's going to happen. And hey, if we are together, I've already put it out there. I'm not editing this out. So it's out there for the public. So
either at Orange County.
I will do it.
Yeah, either Orange County National or the indoor range at the convention center. How about that? We have a date, end of January, beginning of February 2026, my friend.
Woo, it's happening. It's happening. All right, Mr. Todd Keirstead, thank you again, my friend, for joining me and everybody here on ModGolf on our YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time and the messages that you're putting forward for everyone. This is great, Todd. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everyone.